Hi, my name is Keith Henderson, CEO of Latin Metals. Symbol on the TSX is LMS. We're a prospect generator operating in South America, taking a portfolio approach to exploration, multiple shots on goal. Downside for us is limited to the cost of generating projects, and the upside is potentially very transformational.
Keith, good to see you. It's been a couple of months since I saw you. Just saw the news today. Wanted to kind of catch up and sort of see what we needed to know about that, and maybe sort of catch up also about some of the other topics we discussed last time out. So what is this about? Peru?
When we established the company as a prospect generator, we at that time only had projects in Argentina. We decided that it would be smart to diversify a bit. You never know. As it worked out, Argentina was a great place and remains so, but we do have a portfolio of projects in Peru, some of which were part of a spin-out that we did earlier this year, but we've got some projects remaining, and this one's called Lacsha. It's a Copper-Moly porphyry project exploration. It's something that we staked ourselves. We generated it internally. We did some exploration. We did permitting to get it to the point where it's drill permitted, and we spent something of the order of 900,000 Canadian dollars on the project. We've now just announced a deal with Minsur, which is a private Peruvian mining company, an excellent partner for us in Peru. They're active in this area. They've got a project contiguous with us and just to the north, which is a project that they optioned originally from Newmont. So they're now in a 75-25 joint venture with Newmont, and then we're located just to the south. The value of the deal for me is really impressive. I'm really pleased with this. Like this is the kind of deal where they're going to spend over 6 years. They'll drill 60,000 meters. So it's a very, very significant work program. And as we've discussed before, we work on meters and not dollars because we don't want companies to waste money doing things we don't care about. So it's a 60,000 meter drill program. In terms of investment, let's just round numbers, say that's about a $40 million Canadian investment. So really significant. They've got an option to earn an initial 75% by completing that program and by paying us some cash. I think it's about $2.5 million. So then they sit with 75%. They have a time-limited opportunity to go to 100%. And the reason that we do this with a project like this is really because it's a porphyry project. If they're successful in defining something, it's going to be massive capital. It's really not the kind of thing that we can maintain a 25% interest in. So they'll have, at that point, 180 days to decide if they want to buy the remaining 25%. And we've pre-negotiated what that's going to be. So that's $20 million US, about 28 million Canadian. And then that leaves us with a 2% royalty. And that's great because ultimately we want to be a royalty company. We're a prospect generator. We're on our way to becoming a royalty company. And so with that 2% NSR, Minsur have an additional option for a 3-year period, again, time limited, to buy 1% of that 2%. And again, that's pre-negotiated. So again, it's $20 million US and $28 million Canadian. So if all of that happens, you're looking at a little over $42 million US in cash coming into the company, not to mention whatever they spend on the drilling. So it's a really, really significant investment considering that we generated this internally. Like we've spent really relatively nothing on this project. It's all of our geological expertise coming up with a project from nothing that we think has got the legs, and it turns out it does have the legs, and people are prepared to commit this kind of money under an option agreement, which is very, very gratifying for us.
Nice deal. 900 grand in, and then if they go the whole way, sorry, I'm going to mix my Canadian and my US. What's the ultimate bottom line dollar?
42 million US, about 58 million Canadian.
Right, okay.
And we still have the 1% NSR.
And because ultimately, I think, remind people, you want to be a royalty company. That's ultimately the goal here, and you've generated these and staked these yourself. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so that kind of gives us a sort of sense of color of the types of deals that you did, and I think what I quite like there was you talking about we care about meters, not dollars, because people can spend dollars efficiently or inefficiently. You're saying, give me the meters on that. How do they? Is that normal? Do they kind of, when you say that, do they kind of look at you and say, what are you talking about? I mean, What's a normal structure look like?
It's not normal. Usually people will say we'll spend $2 million in the first year and $5 million in the second year. But I've had the hard-earned experience of working with very big companies who I won't name, who turn up with their statement of what they've spent. And I go, really? And you did what? It's like, it's really not impressive. So you get, and it's so difficult to negotiate those deals where you're trying to limit the way in which they can allocate head office costs and things like that. So it's just much, much simpler to say, drill 60,000 meters, I'm going to be really happy.
Well, and so tell me about how you identify. I do want to talk about some of the other portfolio in a second. How you go and identify something like this? Do you say, look, hey, let's go and just stake stuff near some big players, or did Minsur pick up their land package after you kind of stake this? What was the sequence? I'm trying to work out who got there first.
This was not related to the Newmont property to the north as it was at that time.
Right.
It was related to some data that we have. So we've got various data sets that we've variably purchased over the years. And so we have a data set that highlighted this area of this project called Lacsha. And so we just staked it based on that. We stake a lot of property. Like we stake it, we go look at it, we get a feeling for whether we can do something with it. If we really don't like it after we stake it, we just don't talk about it and drop it again. And so it's really only at the point where we think we've got something that's got potential that we announce to the world that we've acquired it and then go through our process of exploring it.
But what's that look like? Before you go and say, I'm going to spend $900,000 on this thing, what are you looking for before you commit hard dollars?
Usually what I'm saying is I'm going to go and spend $200,000 on this thing. So this is a very highly unusual project for us. And I credit my vice president exploration with chipping away, doing bits and pieces over the years to the point where I went, hang on, we spent way more here than I would have thought. And so we were really feeling under pressure to get a deal done. And so now we have this deal in hand, all is forgiven. But yeah, that's definitely more than we would normally do. Normally we get on the ground and do a little bit of mapping. We do some soils, some streams, typical surface geochemistry. If we like what we see, we'll do some trenching, and then we get into some geophysics. We would like to stop usually at magnetics because it's cheap. But if we are feeling very encouraged, we'll sometimes do a little bit of IP. And sometimes you need to do a little bit more to really get companies to see what you see and to commit the investment. But yeah, in this case, definitely a bit more than we would normally have done. So 200, 300 is more of a typical number for us in terms of investment.
Okay. So, great deal. Love it. And so is that now concluded? They will go off and do what they need to do to get to 40,000 meters. No input from you required?
No input. No, we generally don't want to be operating these projects. It's way more valuable for our people to be looking for new projects than working for someone else. So that's the last thing we want to do. Not that we would never do it, but we try not to be too involved.
Okay.
So we typically have quite a bit of communication with our partners. Like we're working with a company called Dora Gold in southern Argentina, and we're having technical calls every week or two. Like we get quite involved if we need to, and if the company is prepared to have us involved, but we're not spending day-to-day time.
Okay, so this is all part of this kind of partner earning. I think we talked about last time round. I mean, Dora, they completed their initial commitment, right? So tell me exactly where they're at, and what they're going to be doing next.
They completed an initial drill program earlier in the year. They're just about to get back into the field. They'll hopefully be putting a news release out in the next week or two, telling people what they're going to be doing. But it's going to include some more surface work. They've been doing a lot of reprocessing of geophysics that they collected, looking and analysing the results that they got from the last program, which was quite successful. And then they'll be doing some additional drilling before the end of the year. I think that has to be, the minimum's around 1,200 meters. I assume they'll do a bit more than that, but I'll wait to find out once they get a news release out.
What was the other one? Moxico, was it? Is it? Am I butchering that name?
Yeah.
There's a bit of a larger program that's waiting some permitting, was what I last heard.
Waiting with bated breath for that drill permit. We care, and it is not here yet. So
they're going through a process, but they're going through that process, right? Okay.
They're doing it, and they're doing great. Like I couldn't wish for a better partner, and they're doing all the right things, and they'll get that. It's just sometimes things take a little bit longer, but that's okay.
Okay, and in terms of some of the partner funded drill that we talked about last time around. I think we talked about Cerro and La Flora example. I mean, have they moved on?
Yeah, Cerro is one that Dora was drilling. La Flora is one that they're going to drill next time as well.
Okay.
Sorry, we're still hoping to see around 18,000 meters in total before the end of the year. The total investments that are coming in with these deals, like if we add on this Minsur deal, 80, let's call it 120 million, will be what we have under contract with this deal just announced. And in that number, I'm not including things like their option to buy the 25% or their option to buy part of the royalty. So the numbers could be much, much larger, but just in terms of work commitments and cash that is committed, we now, with this deal announced, have about 120 million under contract. And then, as I told you last time, and as is still the case, I'm hoping to get most, if not all, of our existing projects out to partners during this year. So this number is going to be getting bigger and bigger. We hope it's going to be like 150, 180 billion of investment coming in by the time we get all of this done and announced. And, you know, just to reiterate what we talked about last time, we're contrasting that with our expenditure every year, which is $3 million. And we spend money like a royalty company. Like it's flat. It's $3 million every year. We don't have any other costs.
Okay, so you've got more of these kind of projects to kind of option out. You've just got 2.5 million in. You said to me last time out that, you know, potentially no financing required in 26 and 27 if you can get those deals over the line. So that kind of flat line cost is. Can that go into 28, 29 if you get these other projects optioned? Is that the idea?
I think it goes to forever. Just to be accurate, the 2.5 coming in is over 6 years. So
it's over 6 years. Oh, right. It's not
225, but that's fine.
And
all of these deals are like that.
Is it front ended or is it?
It's some more. It's relatively flat. Like it goes from 200 in the first year to 500 in the second year, and it's just ramps up a little bit every year. So it's
how
not
much cash have you got
terribly.
now?
It's not. We finished the year with 2 million.
Okay.
We don't need to go back to market. That's still the case. And I think we don't ever need to go back. Like I really hesitate to make these kind of statements because you never know, but it just doesn't look like we ever have to go back. Like, for example, one of the things that is important in that statement is that we expect about $1.8 million to come in through warrant exercise in September. Those warrants are at 15 cents today. Looking at the page, we're trading at 25. So we would assume that indeed we will get those coming in. But if they were not to come in, then we might be looking differently at our cash position. But assuming everything goes according to plan, we don't need to go back.
Okay. And with obviously this program, it's kind of a get rich slow program. If you want to be a royalty company and you're kind of creating these royalties yourself, it's slow and steady wins the race, really, isn't it? So how much more staking are you going to be doing this year?
Lots. We've got a few things that we're staking at the moment in Peru, and as and when we ascertain whether those are truly interesting, that will kind of make it out to the news releases,
right?
Just part of our process. And we're planning to do quite a bit of staking in Argentina over the next 12 to 18 months, and that's something that we'll get around to discussing in the near future as well. So those are adding projects is kind of critical. The types of royalties you add into a company like us that wants to be a royalty company is important. There's always going to be a few royalties kicking around that are very long term, like royalties on very early stage projects might be 10 or 15 years away. But then we think about things like Moxico project, where there's been a discovery where we believe that they're going to be very aggressive in their exploration once they get started, in which case those royalties don't look so far away. So it's just critical to have a mixture of those. Like, it's one thing to have X number of royalties sitting there, but some of them have to look a bit nearer term in order for those to get people excited, I think.
So as far as you're concerned, the partners that you've got at the moment, they look like they're good for the money, they're good for the expenditure. There's nothing there in this market that's making you feel nervous about their future ability to deploy capital on your projects or your joint ventures.
And everyone I'm dealing with, as a rule, is pretty well financed. And that includes the junior company Dora that we're dealing with. But thinking about revenue generating mining companies like Moxico, you don't have too much to worry about. Minsur or CM Deal, I'm trying to find the sweet spot for myself, which is somewhere between major companies that can bring their own disadvantages and coming down the food chain a little bit, and just sticking with a little bit more mid-tier but still very, very well financed companies. I think that's really the sweet spot for me if I can hang around in there.
And so it's just sticking with your view of the market. Obviously, like gold's come off, silver's come off. They're still fantastic prices, but have you seen a change in attitude from companies in terms of wanting to do deals like this, or is it as strong as it's been for a while?
Not a ton of change. Like this year's been strong for me. Like there's so much time passes between the initial discussion with the company and getting something signed and getting something into the news release. So I'm quietly happy with all the conversations I'm having. I'm happy to make bold statements about getting projects out to partners, but I just can't get the details out there until we sign something. So this is the first, I hope, of several of these. And people are interested. They continue to be interested. We continue to acquire really interesting projects. I can promise you, if they weren't interesting, nobody would be doing deals with us. And we've got some good ground here, and we've put some really good stuff together.
Keith, okay, well, I appreciate making the time for us today, updating us on that deal, and good luck with getting the others over the line as well. We'll see you soon. Thank you.
All right. Many thanks. Cheers.